Okay. Today in this class we are going to discuss about uses of adjective. Okay. What is an adjective? So that we have already discussed in the parts of speech topic. Adjective is anything which describes about a noun. Adjective is anything which describes about a noun or a pronoun. Isn't it? Adjective is anything which describes about a noun or a pronoun. That we have already discussed. Radha is a beautiful girl. Radha is a beautiful girl. Okay. Rakesh is a clever boy. Okay, here you see girl is what? Which part of speech? Girl is noun. Okay, when something describes noun, when we give extra information to the noun, that is called what? Adjective. Here girl is simply a noun. So this beautiful represents that how the girl looks like. That means that we are qualifying or we are describing this noun only. So that's why beautiful is what? An adjective. And similarly, Rakesh is a clever boy. There again, boy is what? Noun. And again, we are describing how this boy is. Okay, we are describing a quality of this boy. So, clever is what? Then clever is adjective. So, in simply, we are describing a quality or a quality of a person, a quantity of something. Okay. So all this comes under the adjectives part. So in the verbs part, so when we discussed about the verbs like write is a verb. We were told that so write has three forms like V1, V2 that is wrote and V3 is what? Written. Okay, a verb has three forms. Of course we have the V4 form, that is nothing but what? Write plus ing. V1 plus ing is V4. So in this case, we have three forms of verb: write, wrote, written. Okay. So present form, past participle. So like how we had different forms for verb, in the similar way, adjectives also three different forms. Adjectives also. Let me take this one, clever. Clever is what? We have seen that clever is what? Which part of speech it belongs to? It is adjective. Okay. So adjective, this is clever. Like how we had different verb forms. In the adjectives also we have different adjective forms. This is called adjective first form. And the adjective second form, we have adjective third form. Okay. So clever in the adjective second part becomes cleverer. In the adjective third form, it becomes like cleverest. Okay, the same thing we can call it as this adjective when we describe in adjective 1, that is called a positive degree or positive adjective. Positive degree adjective. And similarly, in the second case, we call it as cleverer is called as comparative degree adjective or comparative adjective. Cleverest is called superlative adjective. Okay, we have, you can take any adjective. Okay, in English language you can take any adjective. Any adjective has three different forms, that is positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. So we can call it as positive degree adjective, comparative degree adjective or superlative degree adjective, or we can also simply call it as positive adjective, comparative adjective, superlative adjective. You can take any adjective in English language. All these adjectives have three forms: positive, comparative and superlative. And similarly here, likewise you have so many adjectives. We have many adjectives in English language. Okay. Suppose if you take this one, beautiful. Beautiful is what? Positive degree. When we write the comparative adjective, then it becomes like more beautiful. And when we write it in the superlative degree, it becomes like most beautiful. Okay, the three forms of beautiful is what? Beautiful is positive degree, more beautiful is comparative degree, most beautiful is what? Superlative degree. Likewise, if you take any adjective, all these adjectives will have three different adjective forms: positive, comparative and superlative. These adjective forms are called degrees of comparison. We have this one, and we have comparative, we have superlative adjective, isn't it? So all these three different forms are called degrees of comparison. So you might have heard about this term degrees of comparison. Maybe in your earlier classes you have studied about degrees of comparison. There you have studied like positive degree and comparative degree, superlative degree. So all these degrees of comparison comes under the topic of what? Adjective. So degrees of comparison. Now we are going to discuss about degrees of comparison in a brief way, not in an elaborated way, just in a brief way, because the usage part is only important. We'll focus more on the usage part, okay? Wait. So degrees of comparison. So in degrees of comparison we have three different forms, that is positive degree, next comparative degree. See, whenever we come across degrees of comparison, whenever we hear this word degrees of comparison, immediately what comes to your mind is these are all comes under adjectives part only. Okay, degrees of comparison only for adjectives. Okay, so positive degree, comparative degree, superlative degree. So degrees of comparison is a separate topic. While we deal with, as suppose if we want to do if we want to deal this topic in a separate way, so there you have 5 different kinds of sentences. So in the first case, this is not important as far as your exams are concerned, but I'm just giving you the examples, the different kinds of degrees of comparison, what it is actually having in English language. In the positive, in the first sentence, the sentence in the positive degree are, so we start with no other state in India is as great as Maharashtra. No other state in India is as great as Maharashtra, or no other batsman in the world is as great as Sachin. Okay, that is first kind of sentence. And the second kind of sentence is very few batsmen in the world are as great as Sachin. And in the third case, we have likewise we have 5 different types of sentences in the degrees of comparison, but that is not there in your syllabus. What you have in your syllabus is the usage part of adjective. Okay, so without knowing all these things, we can simply, how do we deal with this topic, that I am going to tell you. So even though we don't require all these 5 different kinds of degrees of comparison which we have in English language, we need to know some basics on degrees of comparison. See, positive degree, what is meant by positive degree, what is meant by comparative degree, what is meant by superlative degree. We'll see. Raju is a clever boy. In the comparative degree, same I can write it as Raju is cleverer than Ravi. In the superlative degree, Raju is the cleverest boy in the class. Okay, I'm giving the examples. based on the simple structures. Okay, so positive degree, in the positive degree Raju is a clever boy. In the comparative degree, the same thing, I'm writing it as Raju is cleverer than Ravi. Superlative degree, Raju is the cleverest boy in the class. Okay, what actually happening in degrees of comparison is we are not actually changing the meaning of any sentences. Okay, can we say that is there any sentence which I just change the meaning of these sentences? No, you can't, you don't see such kind of thing here. Okay, I'm not changing the meaning of any sentence. The meaning is, see, here I'm talking about Raju is a clever boy. Here again, Raju is clever than Ravi means that I'm telling you that Raju is a clever boy only, isn't it? But I'm comparing with Ravi. But my intention is still Raju is what? Clever boy. And even in this case also Raju is the cleverest boy in the class means that again I'm telling you that Raju is the clever boy only. Okay, I'm not degrading him. I'm not belittling this guy Raju. Okay, the idea, the meaning of all these statements are same. The main idea of all these statements are the main meaning of all these statements are same, but there are slight differences. Okay, in the first sentence Raju is a clever boy, which means that I'm simply describing a quality. How this Raju, this boy Raju is, what is his quality? Quality means that here I'm talking about his cleverness. Okay, so how clever he is, or I'm talking that, so I'm saying that Raju is a clever boy. Okay, I'm just simply giving a statement. Yes, Raju is a clever boy. Okay, just it's a simple statement. Positive degree is a simple statement describing about something. So clever is what? Adjective, which means that we are putting the adjective in a simple manner. That is what we call a positive degree sentence. When it comes to comparative, the name itself suggests you that comparative. Okay, in the comparative degree, so comparison means that what? So here comparison means that you are going to compare this guy with another guy. Okay, here I am talking about the Raju, I am talking about Raju's cleverness, but in the comparative degree I am saying that Raju is cleverer than Ravi. Same thing we are using Raju, same thing I am saying that Raju is clever, but in comparative degree I am referring to some other guy. Okay, by just referring to other guy, well, I am saying that Raju is cleverer than Ravi. So here how many people are involved? Two people. Comparative degree, basically what we need to remember in this comparative degree is, so we are describing about a quality by comparing two persons, two places, or two things. Okay, in comparative degree what is happening? We are describing something, we are describing the adjective by comparing two persons. It can be two places. Hyderabad is hotter than Bangalore. Hyderabad is hotter than Bangalore. In that sentence I am comparing Hyderabad and Bangalore. Okay, so likewise you can say that different examples. But any example while you deal with the comparative degree, you strictly remember that, so comparative degree is comparison for two persons, two places, or two things. When you use comparative degree, it is for two persons, two places, or two things. Okay, whereas in the superlative degree, Raju is the cleverest boy in the class. Suppose I am talking about a particular class. Let's take that it is a class. Okay, in this class Raju is a guy. Okay, in this class Raju is here. So I want to talk something about Raju. I want to say something about Raju. Okay, Raju is a clever boy is a simple sentence. This Raju is comparing with the other guy Ravi. When I compare this Raju with the other guy Ravi, his cleverness, then I need to use it in the comparative form. That is, Raju is cleverer than Ravi. But suppose if I want to say that in the whole class Raju is the cleverest, which means that so nobody is cleverer than him. He is the only ultimate. Okay, that's what I am trying to say. So here in this case we are only using the comparison only strictly limited for two persons, two places, or two things. But whereas when it comes to superlative degree, okay, so you are giving the highest credit to him. Okay, so Raju is the cleverest boy in the class. So we are comparing with what? More than when superlative indicates, when superlative sentence indicates, what it indicates is when more than two people are involved, or more than two things involved, or more than two places are involved, then we use it in the superlative. If we want to describe something in a superior way, and that if there are more than two persons, two places, two things, then we need to use them in the superlative degree structure. Okay, so what I want to tell you is, so in the positive degree, simply you are giving a statement. In the comparative degree, whenever you use this comparative degree, it is strictly confined to two persons, two places, two things. And also while doing this, see, clever, I told you, no. So adjective has three forms. So clever is the first form, adjective first form. A1 means that adjective first form, A2 means that adjective second form. So then it becomes cleverer, and A3 means that cleverest. Okay, in most of the cases, while changing from positive degree to comparative degree to superlative, most of the words, and in the comparative degree, most of the words end with er, and in superlative degree, most of the word ends with est. Okay, so that you remember it. So it is not possible to give you all the adjectives forms. Okay, there are some which you have, which I will give you, no problem. So but you remember the basic thing. So basic thing is when you're changing from clever, cleverer, cleverest. So here when you're changing from positive to comparative to superlative, in the comparative degrees, in the most case it ends with er. So in the superlative cases, so it ends with est, most of the adjectives. Okay, here in this case, comparative degree, Raju is cleverer than Ravi. So here two persons are involved, two places, two things are involved. And second point, what you need to remember in the comparative degree is, whenever you say something in the comparative degree, we must use the adjective second form only. So you should not say it like this, Raju is clever than Ravi. That's wrong sentence. You should not say it like Raju is clever than Ravi. That's a wrong sentence. How would you say Raju is cleverer than Ravi? Raju is cleverer than Ravi. So here we need to, in the positive degree, we need to use adjective first form. Adjective first form, that is clever. In the comparative degree, we need to use what? Cleverer, adjective second form. And immediately after that, we need to have than. Okay, in the comparative degrees, what you need to remember is the structure of adjective second and than. The comparative degree structure is what? Adjective second form and than. And also you need to remember that when I mean that comparative degree, only it is strictly confined to two persons, two places and two things. Coming to the superlative degree, in the superlative degree it involves more than two persons, more than two places, or more than two things. And the structure for this one, whenever you are going to say something in superlative sense, see, the article the must be used. When you say something in superlative sense, or when you say a sentence in superlative sense, article the must be used, and after that adjective clever, cleverer, clever, cleverer. Next what? Clever, cleverer, cleverest. That means that what? Adjective third form. The plus adjective third form must be used. So in the positive degree, adjective 1 must be used. In the comparative degree, see, remember these points. Okay, only remember these points. In the comparative degree, so two persons, two places, or two things must be used. Okay, we should not use more than two persons, two places, or two things. And also while doing a comparative degree, so the adjective must be in the second form, adjective second form, and it is followed by a preposition than. Okay, and then superlative. When it comes to superlative degree, so remember this one. So first you need to, whenever you say some sentence in the superlative degree, the adjective, before the adjective we need to have the, and it is must be followed by adjective third form. Okay, these are the basic points which we need to remember before going to the usage of adjective. Okay, now we will see the different sentences, how we are going to change them in the right way. Okay, see, remember these points. Okay, So you could be asked like this. Correct the following sentence. Correct the following sentences. And rewrite them without changing actual meaning. Actual meaning of the sentence. Correct the following sentences and rewrite them without changing actual meaning of the sentence or actual meaning of the sentences. This is how the question can be asked in your exam. For that, first we need to identify the error and then you rewrite the sentences. So we have already seen that the same thing in the usage of pronouns. Now this is in the usage part, this is our second lesson. In the usage part, first one is pronouns and this is the second one, adjectives. So I'll write the first one. He is more wiser than his brother. He is more wiser than his brother. Second one, Everest is the most highest peak in the world. Okay, these are the sentences. He is more wiser than his brother. Everest is the most highest peak in the world. Think about it. What is the error in that sentence, in the first sentence? In the first sentence, what is the error? He is more wiser than his brother. Okay. If you see this one, before that, I want to give you the 3 adjective forms of much. For much. Okay. For much or many, remember, much and many are adjectives. Much or many are adjectives. Much or many are called adjectives. Which parts of speech are they? So they are adjectives. So this is adjective first form, that is positive degree. Adjective second form is more, and adjective third form is what? Most. Positive degree, comparative degree, superlative degree. For much and many, so it is used in the positive sense. So in the comparative degree, it is more. In the superlative degree, so it is most. So the 3 forms of much or many are more and most. So I'll tell you the difference between much and many later. Okay. First of all, you remember this one. Much and many both can be used. Literally the meaning of much and many are same, but the usage is completely different. That we are going to discuss about in couple of minutes. So adjective 1 has much and many. So while changing from adjective 1 to adjective 2, that means that from positive degree to comparative degree, so it becomes more. In the superlative degree, it becomes what? Most. See, if you see this one, here wiser. The 3 forms of wise. Wise, wiser, wisest. Okay, wise, wiser, wisest. In the earlier case, I told you that most of the adjectives in the comparative degree ends with what? ER. In the comparative degree. In the superlative degree, there ends with what? EST. Okay. But if the adjective ends with, in the positive degree, if the adjective ends with E, then it ends with R in comparative degree. It ends with ST in superlative degree. See here, wise. In the comparative degree, only simply we are adding R, and in this case, only simply we are adding what? ST. Okay, so wise, wiser, wisest. This is positive degree compared to and in the superlative degree. So in this case, he is more wiser than his brother. So wise, wiser, wisest means that wiser is in which degree? Comparative degree, isn't it? This is the positive degree, wiser is the comparative degree, wisest is the superlative degree. Wiser is comparative degree, isn't it? And tell me that more is which degree? More, I already told you that much and many are adjectives. The three different forms of much are what? Much, more, most. Which means that more is also what? Comparative degree. Okay, here I am going to give you the most important rule or the most important uses of adjectives. Okay, we should not have double comparison and double superlative for the same adjective. We should never have double comparison and double superlative. Double comparison, double superlative. For the same adjective. Okay, we should never use double comparison, double superlative for the same adjective. We should never use double comparison, double superlative for the same adjective. Okay, which means that, see, what is the word we have? Wise. What is the adjective here? Here adjective is wise. You want to say that he is wiser than his brother. Okay, which means that what is the main adjective here? Wise. Okay, when you say something, so you have only one adjective here. Okay, that is the main adjective. So double comparison should not be used. Double comparison means that wise already, what is the adjective comparative form of wise? Wiser. Okay, that means that it's already in the comparative degree. But what if you add more to it? You have two comparative degrees adjectives, isn't it? This one is in comparative and this one is also in comparative, which means that for the same word you have, see, before that I want to tell you something. So beautiful, what are the three forms of beautiful? We have already discussed. For few adjectives means that if there are two syllables means that, so when you divide the phonetics, it depends on the phonetics. How you pronounce that beautiful, beauty and full. There is a slight gap. Okay, when you have that slight gap, then these are divided into two syllables. Okay, that is not important. Maybe it is